Hi guys. I've been watching these videos where people see how many cards they can make out of a 6x6 paper pad. And I got started watching them when May issued the challenge for all of her design team members. I watched all of them, and so that kind of sent me down the rabbit hole. But I also watch a woman, I think her last name is Marcotte. Her first name is Christy. She does these all the time, and she ends up with like 38 cards. So I went digging through my paper pads, and I didn't have a full one. So what I did was, when I was at Tuesday morning not too long ago, I bought this guy. It has 24 sheets in it. And there's a few in here that I don't really want to use for this, because this is supposed to be a birthday paper pad, but there are a few of them that can be used for anything. And like this one, I'd use one of them for a birthday card. I'm going to keep one of these out, and I'll replace it with one from this Cakes and Candles. This one is made by DCWV, and this paper is incredibly thick. It's cardstock, but it is incredibly thick, and you can see the shine on it. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I am going to attempt to see how many cards I can make. These are one-sided. I got out a whole bunch of different colors of mats, and these are card bases, not mats, but I did get out a bunch of different colors of mats too. This card base goes over here, and I cut a bunch down. See, I got all different colors in there because there's all kinds of beautiful bright colors in here. I also got out this little paper pad that I got at Joann Fabric. It's supposed to be like watercolor paper pad. Anyway, I thought it would be fun. It says it's for birthday, but there are a lot of these pages that do not have to be used for birthday. They can be used for just celebratory or spring, summer. There is one plaid in there that just screams spring to me, or Easter. Alright, so on my card bases, I have several white card bases. And then I had a pack of cardstock that I got from Walmart, and I believe it was Nina brand, I think. If I'm remembering correctly, I took them out of their package. Anyway, those are super thick, and I got out just different bright colors. Like this one goes perfect with these. The first one I want to work on, I want to use one of these bright yellow. 3.5. by 4 3/4. Now, I'll cut these down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This is how you can take a small cut apart and make it so much more significant than it is. This is a fine line Sharpie, and I absolutely love this little pen. It has a felt tip, but it's extremely fine line. So what I went ahead and did is I went ahead and took these little pieces and matted them, these little cut aparts. I also stamped some happy birthday sentiments, just says happy birthday, and matted them. And I just did a few. And then I had this little guy that was already matted. All I had to do was stamp happy birthday on it. I stamped it offset. Intentionally, I kind of regret that, but I can cover it up with like this guy. So that's what I'm going to do. So if you do like I do and you accidentally stamp something offset, or you stamp it offset and then realize you didn't like that, cover it up with another piece. This one, see, sometime back I was using my scraps, and in doing that, I had stamped out a whole bunch of happy birthdays on different backgrounds. The front cover of this paper pad, I told you that I was going to keep it and cut it apart. This is the piece that I have left. And the bottom part where it said the birthday wishes stack, I simply put this white happy birthday, or this white paper where I stamped in yellow happy birthday, over top of the printing that says the birthday wishes stack. I'm going to cut this at 4 1/8 by 5 1/4. I got a text message earlier from a girl that I had cut mine of my son's hair a couple of times, and I haven't been back to her in months because she kind of messed up my hair, and it took 3 months of growing it out to get it fixed. At any rate, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I get a text message earlier today that says, oh, by the way, if y'all want haircuts, I'm going to be going out of town as of this date and won't be back until after Thanksgiving. And I thought, one, I haven't spoken to you in months. Chances are I've probably had my hair cut a few times since then. Since I think the last time I spoke to her was in July, and here we are November, and the last time she actually cut my hair was in May. I thought, really? And I really kind of have an issue with this person anyway, because my son went to get his hair cut before going on the cruise that him and his buddies went on, and I told him, I said, you know, this is what she normally charges us, and I gave him the exact amount of money because he and I usually go and get our hair cut together. It's just something we do. It's a little bit of bonding time, kind of just talk about whatever needs to be talked about, if anything. Otherwise, we could have lunch, make a day of it. And that particular day, she'd kind of given us the runaround for about a week. And so then out of nowhere, she says, well, I have openings on this day at this time. And I thought, 2 hours ago you didn't have those openings, because she and I had been going back and forth trying to figure out a good time. And I finally said, well, if you can get my son in, then I'll just get mine done another time. And this was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. She asked my son, she cut his hair, and when it was just about time for him to pay her and leave, she said, oh, will you pick me up a t-shirt while you're on your trip? He said, well, if you want to give me the money for it, I suppose I can. Tell me what size you wear, because my son is nice and won't say no. And she started digging around in her purse. And he stood there for a good while she dug around and dug around. And then, finally, he said, well, here's the $15 for my haircut. That's what Mom says you usually charge us. In a huff, she went, and he said, you still want me to pick up a t-shirt? She said, no, forget it. That just, if anybody would do that to somebody, that just speaks volumes to me. It's not bad enough you screwed up my hair. But to try and take advantage of a situation when you knew full well that I usually pay and he's not usually around when I pay. I mean, come on. You're going to try and take advantage of that? Stop. So, needless to say, I never spoke to her again after that. I went to the same girl. Well, first off, I didn't get my hair cut for years and years and years, and it didn't really ever grow much. I trimmed it up myself, but I did that for years because people had messed my hair up before, and I just didn't trust hairstylists. And one day I got sick of pulling my hair up because it was giving me headaches. And so I finally made the decision I was going to go get my hair cut. And I found this girl, and I went to that girl for about 6 years. And I don't know, she just started changing, and things weren't, it was just different. And different's fine, but it wasn't different in a good way. It was different in, this is kind of against my morals type way. I went to the same girl. Well, first off, I didn't get my hair cut for years and years and years, and it didn't really ever grow much. I trimmed it up myself, but I did that for years because people had messed my hair up before, and I just didn't trust hairstylists. And one day I got sick of pulling my hair up because it was giving me headaches. And so I finally made the decision I was going to go get my hair cut. And I found this girl, and I went to that girl for about 6 years. And I don't know, she just started changing, and things weren't, it was just different. That's cute. The last one I used the number paper. This is my cutaway piece, so I figured I'd go ahead and use it. And then I have this shimmery Nina cardstock, so I made a banner out of it. And then just a plain pink. And then this is one of the sentiments that I had done before, but I didn't have it backed on white, and it got kind of lost once it was laid up against this pink, so I went ahead and backed it on white. Then I have the 2 mats that go both inside and outside. But this one is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. This is one of the marble or watercolor papers. It's cut at 3 3/4 by 5. As far as the inside goes, I did a white piece that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4. Had to think about it for a minute. And then this one is cut at 3 5/8 by 5. And then another little cutaway piece that I had of the number paper is this one, and I cut it to fit right down there. So this is a simple one. The card base I'm using is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. I'm also trying to do these without a whole lot of bulk. I figured I'd try as many of these as I could without adding the ribbons and bows and such. And I just cut these, different lengths and different widths. It doesn't matter what width you want to do, just whatever looks good to you, And that's something else. When you watch people's videos, when I originally started, I thought I needed to go out and buy everything that they were using or order it online or something like that. And that can get extremely expensive. So what I do is when I'm watching somebody's videos that I'm inspired by, one, I look to see what I have already that would work. And if I don't have anything, then I look at places like AliExpress to see where I can get it cheaper. And I don't want to keep buying things. I would rather use what I already have. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do this one because it's going to be the absolute easiest one. This is an entire card front. There. Yes, this one's 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to try dealing with this one. The one that makes my eyes hurt. Not a big one. Cut up the middle and then go from the corner to the middle. That's one of the best tricks that I've learned. Alright, this black mat is wrinkled, but it's going to be covered. It is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we have this one that says a pocket full of birthday wishes. It's got green and yellow on it. I think this needs something else on top of it besides that, just that little sentiment. When you buy thicker, better cardstock and you have to lift it, it doesn't make such a mess. With the thinner cardstocks, like this white one that I got, it's from Hobby Lobby. It's from one of the Paper Studio stacks. It just ripples it every time I have to move it. 3 3/4 by 5 1/8. I'm going to cut this to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Good. Okay, 3 1/4 by 2 3/4. Yeah, I want to try and do these without pulling out dies and stuff like that, because not everybody has those things, nor do they have the means to get those things. So that's why I try and keep these as simple as I can to help people when they're very first starting out have different ideas. All I did was round the corners on that. Work on card number 11. I'm going to take this and cut it in half. My battery died. This is the last one. Laying all this down. What I did here is I cut a piece of the number paper, backed it on this orangish yellow color, backed that on blue, then on white, then on a brighter yellow, then on this green watercolory from that watercolor pad, and then on this charcoal gray. I didn't intend for it to have that many mats. Each one of those mats, it seemed that it was getting more and more lost on top of these banners until I put the charcoal gray behind it. So then I have this happy birthday that I'd stamped out on white on a diagonal, backed it on black. Then I took some of these little enamel dots, put a few of them on there because I think they'll be cute. And then out of the watercolor paper scraps, I had this one, so I made a banner out of it. I went ahead and cut a banner out of the balloon paper, then out of this horrible green that I hate with that terrible chevron, and then the number paper. And then I have the yellow watercolor on top of 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2.